Imagine sitting on your couch watching a movie and eating a bowl of ice cream. Then, in a couple of weeks, you start having loose stools and vomiting. You naturally think you have a stomach bug, but these symptoms do not go away, and you start running a fever, not being able to stand or walk because of weakness and loss of balance. You're taken to the hospital to find out that you have Listeria monocytogenes. Sorry. This is what happened to several people in 2015 with the Bluebell Listeria outbreak of 2015. This outbreak killed several people, landed several others in the hospital. This immunization crisis immunization and image restoration strategies in the Bluebell Creamery's Listeria outbreak Journal of Apply in the Journal of Applied Communications, Volume 104, number E 2020, in the New Prairie Press. We learn about this crisis and how Bluebell came back to be on top of the ice cream market. I'm Shannon, and this is Issy, Logan, and Emily, and we have been exploring the crisis Bluebell Creameries faced. The goal of this presentation is to learn about the Bluebell Listeria outbreak of 2015 and how they restored their image and came back to the top of the ice cream market. The best understand To best understand our goal, we will discuss image restoration theory and how it was used by Bluebell Creameries in this crisis.
William Benoit developed the image repair theory in order to explain how organizations and the individuals within react when their reputation is threatened. The theory states that people and organizations deeply care about maintaining a positive image. When there is a threat present that could tarnish their reputation, they execute communication strategies in order to fix it. The theory brings the assumption that communication is goal-directed. Every response made by an organization is geared towards repairing its reputation and maintaining positive public perception. The image repair theory is essentially offered as an explanation for why companies react the way they do when their reputations are on the line. The best situation to apply this theory in is when an organization's reputation is in crisis and the public perception becomes negative. For example, when an organization is under attack, the public believes that the company is responsible. When an organization has to respond directly to a controversy, especially if expressing it to the media, the image repair theory would work best. To tie this into the case at hand, Bluebell utilized the image repair theory to repair its reputation after a Listeria outbreak in 2015. This Listeria outbreak from the hand of Bluebell caused mass illness, temporary plant closures, and major recalls of Bluebell products. In order for Bluebell to resolve this crisis, it had to respond quickly and effectively. They needed to communicate and act fast to regain the trust of their consumers, especially the ones who viewed Bluebell as a trustworthy brand. The focus of the image repair theory is to effectively communicate across the board to repair stakeholder trust and reduce the blame put on the company. The image repair theory is a great example that image repair cannot rely on just apologizing. Companies and the individuals within must be able to shape how the public perceives the event. Within the theory, there are specific strategies for organizational use that can help defend or repair the company's reputation. According to Benoit, there are 5 strategies that organizations can use when defending themselves or repairing their reputation. The first one to discuss is denial, which occurs when an organization decides to shift the blame elsewhere or refuses to take responsibility. Next is evasion of responsibility, which occurs when an organization claims that an incident was accidental or that it was not within its control. The next strategy is reducing offensiveness, which happens when an organization attempts to blanket or reduce the damage caused or tries to overshadow the damage by highlighting positive attributes. The next strategy to use is corrective action, which focuses on fixing the problem at hand and taking initiative to prevent the problem from reoccurring. Lastly, the fifth strategy is mortification, which occurs when an organization admits its faults and asks for forgiveness from its stakeholders and consumers. Overall, the image repair theory provides us with a framework that can explain why Bluebell took the corrective action course it did. It gives us a great example of how to apply the image repair theory in order to shape public perception and revive reputations. It highlights how restoring reputation is more than just making a statement. It's about regaining trust, taking responsibility, and ensuring that your actions always line up with what you're saying.
In early 2015, Bluebell ice cream manufacturers became the primary source of a listeria outbreak. This outbreak stretched to multiple states and quickly became an increasingly bigger issue. Between January and April 2015, it was linked between multiple public health authorities that Bluebell products were the main cause of several listeria outbreaks. Further testing proved the fact that Bluebell had listeria in finished products and also present in the plant as well. This led to an eventual recall of all products and showed that Bluebell was facing a sanitation issue as well. This led directly into shutting down plants and increasing cleanliness and new protocols throughout the plants. Image repair theory is essential when dealing with a case like this. Image repair focuses on how the organization can repair public perception and get back on track after it has been damaged. In this Bluebell listeria case, it has been damaged due to a lack of transparency throughout this ongoing issue. Image repair theory goes hand in hand with this case because right away, the company's integrity takes a hit. This is because it is evident that Bluebell knew about the listeria prior to the public hearing about it. This is cause for concern based on the fact the public sees this as a company hiding potentially life-saving information from them. Bluebell released public statements such as an apology, shutdown notices, recalls, and implemented new protocols at the plant level. This was associated with the use of various different types of media to mend those broken relationships and try to save face. In February of 2015, Texas officials detected listeria in some products of Bluebell. This led to some products being recalled, yet not publicly. The public recalls would happen mid-March in Texas and even in the Oklahoma production plants. April 20th, the recall would reach everywhere nationwide, recalling all products from Bluebell. This led to CEO Paul Cruz to release apologies by public videos, and this coincided with the plant shutdowns. The plant shutdowns provided the chance to deep clean and put together new methods of cleaning to make sure this would not happen again. Later 2015, Bluebell would incorporate new safety protocols and gradually start producing products again. Bluebell was held liable in 2020 for two misdemeanor counts and was ordered to pay $17.25 million. The CEO and company would issue several apologies, such as "We are heartbroken about this situation and apologize to all of our loyal Bluebell fans and customers." This is showing direct signs of mortification and expressing remorse to the public. The company would later release statements that are found in the PowerPoint which indicates justification within the issue. One of the most important steps they took was finally being transparent and explaining the corrective action they took and how they plan on making the plant safe and providing new safety training to prevent this issue from happening in the future. The CEO also publicly showed that he was working with the CDC and FDA in response to show he is fixing the issue at hand and helping his public image as well. The corrective action from the full product recall and plant shutdowns aligned perfectly with Benoit's corrective action plan. He explains how using mortification strategies is a key component in regaining trust. Another strength that the company showed during this time was the ability to address audience while also being able to control messaging. The last thing that needed to happen in this situation was the spread of misinformation. The ability for the CEO to speak publicly helped with speeding the process of emotional repair within consumers. The weakness comes from the fact that Bluebell was slow on being transparent about early tests to the public. Benoit explains that credibility is crucial, and the fact that it took them a while to publicly recall all the products is a key component on why the consumers were slow to regain trust within the company. Overall, Bluebell used vast crisis tactics such as apology, corrective action, and controlling the spread of information through the media. All these tactics did and keep the loyal customers around, yet the bigger mistake was avoiding immediate disclosure early on. This resulted in loss of credibility that image repair as a whole was easily challenged by evidence showing that the company was slow to act, subsequently making it harder for them to regain popularity than if they took the right steps faster.
The listeria outbreak at Bluebell facilities and the response and actions towards the crisis highlight several important strategies that other organizations should take note of when preparing for a crisis and when actively managing a crisis. The main misstep taken by Bluebell and the reason why their reputation was so scrutinized was the delay in responding to and acknowledging the crisis. Bluebell held off communicating with the public about the contamination that was found in their products, which broke the trust consumers had in the company. For other organizations, it would be greatly recommended to respond quickly and honestly. Acknowledging that there is an issue is of utmost importance, as it shows the intent of open communication with the public, and if updates about the situation are frequent and honest, it also builds credibility. Another takeaway from the Bluebell situation is to take responsibility. Strategies like minimization, shifting blame, and evasion, as discussed in image repair theory, are only correctly implemented in situations where it is unclear as to where the guilt lies. However, in terms of the Bluebell case, it was evident that there was a fault within the facilities that led to the spread of listeria, and that Bluebell could not avoid being responsible for the situation. Therefore, Bluebell executed repair strategies of mortification and corrective action given the circumstances. It would be recommended to other organizations that it is best to accept responsibility when it is clear that the company is at fault and employ strategies of corrective action by stating how the organization will improve by using mortification and apologize to the public. The Bluebell crisis also sheds light on the importance of having a crisis management plan in place before a crisis occurs. Bluebell did not adequately monitor its facilities after the initial outbreak took place, and due to its lack of a crisis management plan and not having certain protocols in place, it did not effectively communicate among its facilities about what the response to the situation should be. Other organizations should actively invest in crisis training, implement a crisis management chain of command, and consistently carry out risk assessments of the organization. The Bluebell listeria crisis intently shows the utilization of image repair theory as a guide in making strategic decisions in response to this situation. Image repair theory allows organizations to choose from several strategies such as mortification, corrective action, reducing offensiveness, and denial, and choose those that will prove the most effective in response to the crisis at hand. In the case of Bluebell, they chose the mortification and corrective action strategies as they fit the most in addressing the severity and accepting the responsibility of the situation. Therefore, image repair theory acts as a framework of strategies for organizations to make use of in evaluating what will be the most appropriate and honest response to stakeholders and the public. When the theory is executed correctly, it aids organizations in avoiding making mistakes that could lead to the loss of trust and reputation, and overall worsen a crisis, and instead choose a response deliberately that most aligns with the expectations that have been imposed on them by the public and stakeholders in terms of safety and accountability.
The Bluebell listeria crisis emphasizes the importance of accountability, clarity, and promptness for effective crisis communication. This crisis effectively shows the use of the image repair theory as they employed the use of mortification and corrective action by apologizing, recalling their products, and shutting down their facilities. Sanitized and made sure that the infrastructure was improved and met/exceeded standards. The goal of this presentation was to learn about the Bluebell listeria outbreak of 2015 and how they restored their image and came back to the top of the ice cream market.